I'm Kasem. The smaller the numbers, the bigger the hits. Well, now we're up to the latest hit by a band whose instruments over the years have made some of the strangest sounds around. Since they formed in the college town of Athens, Georgia back in 1976, the cult band called the B52s has tried out all sorts of odd things. In their first few years together, they often performed on instruments they bought at children's toy stores. Small ukuleles, tiny pianos like the ones Schroeder plays in the comic strip Peanuts, and flutes and whistles with pictures of the Muppets and Mickey Mouse on them. The band's leader, Fred Schneider, told us those toy instruments had a bright, chirpy sound that we liked. And besides that, back in those days, they were the only ones we could afford. For a while, the B52s added bird calls to their songs as well. And they swear they were so good at it, they'd get sparrows and pigeons flying into the bars where they performed. Then they came up with the idea of pre-recording all their instruments. First, they'd play their songs onto tape, and later on stage, they'd simply turn on the tape recorder and be free to move around all they wanted while they added their singing. Well, one night, while they were right in the middle of a song, dancing around on the stage, singing their hearts out, the tape recorder broke. So they had to finish the song and the show a cappella. Since that impromptu performance, the B52s have been playing on pretty much standard issue instruments. But every once in a while, if you listen closely, you still might hear an occasional bird whistle or a couple of chords on a toy ukulele. This week, the band that loves to play around with strange sounds is loving every minute of their first top 40 hit. At number 10 of the countdown, here are the B52s with Love Shack. I'm Kasem. These are the nation's biggest hits by the world's hottest stars. Well, now we're up to the latest hit for a band with roots in a garden, a vegetable garden. Here's the well-tended story. It was back in the mid-'70s that the people who would eventually become the B52s were all living in the college town of Athens, Georgia. They'd see each other now and then at parties, but they were just casual acquaintances. Still, even the most casual of friendships can bloom into something else. That's what happened with the future members of the B52s. The seed was planted one day when Fred Schneider discovered his friend Kate Pearson was living in an old farmhouse. Kate was paying $15 a month for the house and the land around it, but she didn't have any real interest in tending that land, so it was turning into an overgrown jungle of weeds. Well, as it happens, Fred just loved to garden, but he lived in an apartment. So he called up Kate one day and volunteered to tend her garden for free, just for the fun of it. And soon, Fred had created one of the best-looking vegetable plots around. Then, as Kate and Fred became closer friends, something more than vegetables began to take root. As he crouched in the dirt pulling weeds, Fred would talk with Kate about a dream of his to form the perfect party band, a band that was zany and wacky and too cool for words. Kate was excited by Fred's ideas, so they got a few other casual friends involved, and before long, a band had grown out of those days of cultivating the soil, a band called the B52s. Along with original members Ricky and Cindy Wilson and Keith Strickland, they made their performing debut at a Valentine's Day party in 1977. And now, 13 years later, they continue to grow. This week, the band with its roots in a vegetable garden sprouts up at number 34 with the third of our 4 debuts. Here are the B52s with Rome.
And now, back to the countdown.
Number 36.
What for?
I'm trying to think.
Here's the two-man, two-woman band who formed in 1977 in Athens, Georgia. They became underground new wave raves with outer space surf music like Rock Lobster. And now more than a decade later, the B52s have finally hit it big. Their third top 40 hit in a row moves up 4 to number 36 this week on American Top 40. It's Deadbeat Club.